Awesome. Pleasure to welcome to the podcast Colin Lenskold, goalie from Utah. Colin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for having me. Great
Yeah,
to
it's
be
gonna
here.
yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. Gonna be awesome. Well, you just wrapped up practice. Welcome. Go from practice right to the Lax Goalie Rap podcast. I'd love to hear the story of when you first jumped into goal, very first save. You remember that?
I do actually. So it was back in my youth days playing Connecticut at the St. Joseph lacrosse tournament in Trumbull, Connecticut. So my dad was one of the coaches, and we didn't have a goalie going into it. I kind of played every position. Second graders, you kind of don't have a position, but we got to game day and needed a goalie. So I just decided, I'll give it a try. Played pretty well at it, so kept going through that. And then after that tournament, I kind of never looked back and kept going from there.
Really? Right from that tournament, you're like, I'm the goalie.
Yeah, yeah.
There.
So one of my good friends on the team, Will Cole, his dad, Jimmy Cole, was actually a goalie at Georgetown, so he held me up through youth, and having a goalie coach like that kind of helped me a lot. So allowed me to stay with the position and just keep getting better from there.
Yeah. What are some of those early things that he taught you? Do you remember?
Um, Mainly it was just like two things were have fun and don't be scared of the ball. That's kind of what I keep going with to this day because, it's not really, if you're not enjoying it, there's no reason to really be out there. If you're not enjoying, you're not going to play your best. You're not going to want to be out there. And then at the end of the day, the ball's going to hit you some way. So whether you duck to try and avoid it or you stand there and get hit, you're going to get hit somehow, same speed. So kind of just learned that. And I think it's two lessons I've kind of kept with me to this day that have helped me.
Yeah. Have fun and don't be afraid of the ball, huh? You can go pretty far with that. How do you
Yeah.
know? How do you not be afraid of the ball? Because I'll be honest, when I started playing as an 18-year-old, I was completely afraid of the ball. And so how like for you as a second grader, like how did you overcome that fear?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, at that young of an age, you still have those tensions. Like you still tense up when the ball shot, or you still twitch or move early. Like I
Yeah.
still do that now, especially on those inside crease cranks. So, but it's just trying to stay as composed as you can, staying as calm and still, and just you'll get so much a better reaction on the ball if you just sit there and wait on it instead of moving early or trying to shy away from the ball. And at the end of the day, it comes with the position. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get bruises. You're gonna get a little banged up. You're never gonna fully be healthy. So just knowing that going into it, that it is part of the position to take these bumps and bruises, but as long as the end of the day, if you're making those saves and your team's winning, there's not a better feeling.
Yeah. 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 Now, did you pad up pretty well when you first started or
Oh,
no?
for sure, most definitely. I had the shin pads on. I think I even started with elbow pads on, big chest protector, but over the years quickly start to shed them when could really move from side to side well.
Yeah.
Could only really move the stick, but once I started getting more movement with my feet and my body involved, I started to shed those pads off.
All right, that's good to hear because I think a lot of youth goalies see, the college guys or the pro guys, and they're not wearing any leg protection. And I always tell those goalies, like, hey, like when they started, when they were your age, guess what? Like they were fully padded up. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say, the shin guards, the thigh protection, get a good
Hmm.
cup. The only one I don't
Yeah.
understand are the elbow guards because like just like the way we play goalie, like the elbow guards protect like your elbow cap, and like you don't really get hit right there. You know what I mean? So those are the ones,
Yeah.
the only ones where I'm like, if you don't want to wear those, then I'm cool with that. But the leg
Yeah. I,
protection should be mandatory.
I totally agree. Especially
Mhm.
coaching these kids at these clinics that we do at school sometimes, or go out and just coach the with the local town kids.
Yeah.
You definitely see these kids fully padded up or with no pads, so there's no like really in between. So I mean, I think especially at such a young age, especially I think getting hit with the ball when you have those pads on It's more of like a mental thing, like, oh, it's like the ball, I want to get hit because I know that these pads are there to protect me. It's the
Yeah,
same thing. Like now, if someone's get hit, in the helmet or in the hand, say, they know they have their protection. So they're willing to go more towards the ball and get hit there because they know that they're not getting hit in just straight skin and bones.
totally. Yeah, and it gives you more confidence too, right? Because I've heard ice hockey goalies talk about like, they get padded up like head to toe. I mean, you can't like take a bruise as an ice hockey. I'm sure you can, but like it's very hard. But like
Hmm.
they feel really confident in there. So when like the shot comes at them, like there's no like flinching going on. They're just like staring at the puck. Whereas
Yeah.
you see a lot of lacrosse goalies, what happens? Like the knees buckle in, right? The hands like come in. You get your chin can even drop. And that happens like all the way up to like even college. Like you'll see some shots and like even pros for that matter. You see some shots and those goalies' knees will buckle in and it's not what we want as a lacrosse goalie because you're not athletic when you get in that. So you got to train that out of your system. And I think those pads really help, right?
Yeah, I'd agree for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something we talk about every day with Coach McMinn here. He was a goalie at Providence, and his biggest thing is to always be set and see the ball right away. And, he never wants us making these false movements. He always says there's either two ways a shooter could beat you. He either beat you with speed on a good speed and accuracy on a good shot, or he beats you because you beat yourself with flinching early. So if
Yeah.
someone takes a shot where I'm dropping my hands down low and they shoot up above my stick, that's one where I beat myself. But if I'm fully set, see the ball and react well, and they just place it in a good spot, then you got to give props to the shooter, and the shooter beats you on that one.
Yeah. And that happens, right? And that happens. And we'll talk about that when we get into the mental game. um, right? You're going to give up goals, and I think that's actually an important thing to like, when you're teaching a youth, right from the get go, is like getting that concept in. I just posted a video to my Instagram that had like, Liam Entenmann, best goalie in the world, getting scored on left, right, bam, 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 right, and it happens to the best goalies in the world, and you got to understand that, and you just got to focus on that next one, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
think that's something that's especially trained with the younger kids. That I mean, as you get older, you'll definitely pick up that you'll never have a shutout. I think I've maybe had one shutout in my life, and it might have been like a high school JV game. But realistically, you're playing at a high school Division 1 level. You're never gonna have a shutout. You're always gonna let in goals. You're gonna let in goals that you're not happy with. It's just part of the game. You just got to pick up and move on to the next play.
yeah. um I've heard that said on the podcast so many times. It's like you're never going to have a shutout, and then Dobson almost does it. He almost does
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
We
that
would have to
was
go back and edit every podcast episode there is. He lets up one goal with 50 seconds left in the game, right?
yeah, that was
Unbelievable.
incredible.
Yeah. That's funny. So how do you when you give up personally, talk a little bit about the mental game. When you give up like a bad goal, is there something you do to sort of reset, or how do you move on to the next one?
So we have a mental performance coach here called or doctor. We call him Dr. Nick, and he told us this was before last year. He told us to always have a routine. Before a play happens or after a play happens. So whenever I get scored on, the first thing I do is I always reach my stick into the net, pick up the ball, find the ref, toss it to him, and then straight into a defensive huddle. We'll talk about what happened. Um, I think our team here does a great job of, someone will never put each other down. We'll always keep each other up. So if someone knows that they made a mistake, it's always that's on me. But we keep them upbeat and know them that hey, that play happened, can't change it. The only thing we can do is focus on the next play. So we break down that real quick. I'll give my pipes a quick tap and then back locked in on the face off, ready for the next play. Because, like I said, you can't change the past. We can only work on the next play.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's incredibly important to have some sort of reset routine that it does exactly that, right? That kind of gets you from getting into your own head and allows you to move on. I was going to ask about that defensive huddle because a lot of times youth goalies ask me like, well, what do I say? What do we talk about? What do we in that little huddle right after? So could you
Yeah,
give me a few examples of like just some things that have been said, like, on different plays, if you
yeah.
remember?
Um, so let's say dodge comes from the left alley, sweep dodge over the top. We're late to slide, and they just get an on the run shot, sneaks by. Maybe he pulls it back to the near side where I came from. We'll just come in to the huddle, talk it out, say, "Hey, we saw our guy was beat," and then I'll be like, I should probably send you earlier there so we could get the slide on hands there. We were a little late on that time, but I'll make for up for it next time. I'll tell you slide earlier because I know the backside help's going to be there. So if we could get our hands on that shooter there, we'll be able to make a much better play there. Probably prevent a
Yeah.
shot there,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ball moving, and then
Yeah.
maybe if it's a man up play and they swing around and they find maybe like they work it up top and then a skip pass is open on the pipe for a goal. We'll just be like, hey, we saw them film this week. We know they want to feed those pipes. Let's try and stay a little tighter there. Let's not overextend and give that pipe look open.
Yeah. Love it. That's awesome. Awesome breakdown. And then do you ever just hit the team with like, I mean, that's like a very like how can I call it, like technical analysis, right? Like, do you ever just hit the team with like more of a rah emotional, like, let's go, or maybe even like the other way around, like, guys, we're good, like, keep playing calm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I'm more of someone who's not going to be like the rah rah, let's get this, like, we got this team. It's more of like, hey, we just got to keep on grinding next play. Like, that happens, mistakes happen, we're on to the next play. It's not like we got this, or like it's not more, we're not getting on each other, so to say. Like, we're not bringing each other down, like I said earlier, but it's just,
Right.
hey, keep grinding. 60 minutes, long game. We just got to keep on going. We're playing well. Just keep doing our thing.
Yeah, love that. What would you say to a youth goalie who has somebody on their team who does like get down on them? Because that happens, right?
Yeah,
They could turn around and go, "Oh, come on, you should have had that one," and like that makes the goalie feel like crap,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah.
And so, what sort of tips would you give to a goalie in that situation?
In that situation, I would probably just be like, hey man, I'm sorry. Like, I made a mistake there. We all make mistakes during the game. Not everyone's perfect. Like, you probably made a mistake, but I'm not gonna call you out on it. But it's just we need to be supportive of one another. The biggest thing that prevents teams from reaching their goals is themselves. It's the mindset on the team. It's the team. If the team's not meshing well with one another, like that team's not going to go very far. It's the closest teams, the teams that buy in the most are the ones that are going to make it far. So if we want this team to work, like we got to find each other on the same page here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times too, yeah, pulling them aside, like, during practice or after the game and just, having a quick chat of like, hey, like when you say those type of things, like we all want to win, right? We're all
Yeah,
ideally like we have the same goal. We have the same vision. We want the same thing. But, when you have those outbursts, it like I play bad. I get in my head. It makes me feel bad and I don't want to be there. And so, yeah, I mean, just having that conversation, I think helps quite a bit. Awesome. So then when you're growing up, you got that coaching from the Georgetown coach. But any other like, I don't know, camps, clinics? Are you watching goalies play? College lacrosse? Talk to me about that.
yeah. So my dad and uncle both played at Yale, and then my other uncle played at Yale. So I kind of grew up, being from Connecticut, not too far from Yale. We would go to a couple of games a year. Also go to like Fairfield U games. But then I'd say honestly, my biggest help in helping me get to where I am today is Coach Runkle from the goalie workshop. So I started working with him when I was in sixth grade, so
Mm,
almost 8 years now, and I'm
wow.
still working with him every week when I'm home.
Mhm.
And just the tips that he's taught me, um, from both mentally and then also, stance, movement in my game, different drills. He's probably been the biggest help to me. And then also the guys over in Net Nation, Brian Doherty, Drew Adams, Blaze Rudin, those guys have also been a big help. I was able to go there to their overnight camp for I think 2 years, and now I have worked there the last 2 years.
Oh, cool.
So being able to give back the lessons that I learned while I was there to the campers now is pretty fun.
Love it. Awesome coaches. Let's talk about Coach Jack Runkle first because he's one of my favorites to learn from personally myself. He's presented at the goalie summit like 3 times, and each presentation is just like, man, it's so well done, and it just the way he thinks about the position is so cool. Any specific like I don't know, like the main number one thing that you feel like you should share that you learned from him? I'd love to hear that.
The main thing, oh, he's got a lot, but I think one thing that he's taught me is just playing loose. I know it's pretty cliche to say, but he does such a great job of explaining with different methods. Like one thing that he's always talked about is having like sort of a tick in like your pre-shot routine where if he's talked about, um, maybe it's like as someone winds up taking a deep breath in, a quick breath out, just to settle yourself down and stay loose.
Yeah.
But then also one thing I've learned from him is that every goalie, that plays is different. He's always talked about how he plays so much different. He used a longer actual goalie shaft compared to the short sticks that many of the goalies use today. And that just like you can be your own goalie in the cage. You don't have to copy someone. Like it's obviously great to take influence from the best goalies in the world and the best goalies in college. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, you're your own player. So just being able to put all of those different influences that you have together into one to make you yourself as the goalie is probably the biggest thing I've learned from him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Did you guys ever talk about getting out of a slump?
Yeah, we've talked about that because especially early in my freshman year, the transition from high school to college, it is very real. It's very tough at first, but I called him after I think my second game. We played Marquette. I hadn't played a great game, and I hadn't played well in the first game against Denver. So I called him and just chatted with him. He said, you're as long as you're going out there, giving you everything you have and enjoying the game at the same time, like you have all the skill that you need, you have all the talent, you've worked your hardest that you needed to get to the spot you are today. Like just relax and have fun and go out there and play your game because
Hmm.
we are all gonna have times where we struggle. There's gonna be shots that you allow that you probably think you shouldn't, or there's going to be games where you're not as active, and then when you see a shot, it might get by you because you haven't been working that hard, or there's games where you're getting shelled where it's on the crease finishes or in tight shots that you're getting scored on. But at the end of the day, like you just gotta pick that up, put it in your memory for the rest of the night or into the weekend. And then once it comes out on Monday, it's brand new week, brand new challenge ahead for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that classic, next shot mentality, like applied to just moving on to the next game, right? And you have a bad game on a Saturday and like on Monday, like all that matters is like I'm practicing Monday and all that matters is I'm going to be the best that I can be on this practice and this moment and this practice. And then when Tuesday comes, same thing, right? And just kind of taking it day by day. I think that helps quite a bit to get out of that slump.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. So when did you start thinking about playing D1 lacrosse? I guess your dad and your uncle and a lot of family had already played
Yeah.
Division 1 lacrosse, and so maybe that was something that you'd been thinking about for a while.
So it was something that was always kind of in the back of my head. And it probably wasn't until going into freshman year of high school where I really thought, I had a chance to make something happen with it.
Yeah.
Grew up playing hockey and lacrosse mainly. And when, I was playing hockey, I was so focused on hockey, like it's hockey season. Like I want to do hockey in my future. And then when it got to lacrosse season, it was lacrosse. I think I want to do lacrosse forever. And then once it got going to my freshman year, I kind of realized that, I feel like I had a much brighter future in lacrosse. So I kind of started to take it a little more seriously than I had. Still playing hockey in the fall and winter, but once it got to spring, summer, and then into fall with fall ball, I started taking lacrosse a lot more serious. And I think going to then, and then once it got to COVID, so that was my sophomore summer. So going into my recruiting summer, me and my friends kind of made the decision like, we're gonna, however much they allow us to do, whatever the town, allows us to do with the restrictions, we're gonna take advantage of that. So we were out there pretty much every day we could for a couple hours a day each day, just getting better in every way possible. And it definitely helped us a lot then end
Mm,
up reaching our goals.
yeah. When you say my future was a lot better brighter in lacrosse, does that just mean you were better at lacrosse than
Yeah,
hockey? Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely was. I
Uh,
definitely saw myself not reaching the NHL at that point, as I thought when I was a youth that I had a chance. But as
yeah,
I grew
yeah.
up, I saw that dream start to fade away.
Yeah, but it's still very important to be a multi-sport athlete, and especially one that has like such strong similarities as hockey to lacrosse, right? Both the hand-eye coordination, kind of like the movements of exploding. So many similarities. And you played hockey throughout high school?
Yep, I
Yeah,
did. I played up until my senior year. Senior year, we didn't have enough kids for a team, so I didn't play that year. But
yeah,
I mean, I think it's definitely one of the best things you could do. Also, having another sport or two, it just takes your mind away from lacrosse for a little bit,
yeah,
especially as you're trying to go through high school and recruiting and all that stress. It's just being able to have something to like kind of take your mind off of lacrosse for a little bit. I did hockey. We had a rec basketball league that we play in on Monday nights in high school. It's just
yeah.
having that extra stuff that's away from the sport is just I think it's a lot better. I think it helps you both mentally and then also the physical attributes you can gain from playing other sports as well.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I remember when I graduated college, I wasn't playing any lacrosse, but I was just playing pickup basketball at my gym, like pretty much every day. And then I came back and I played in the alumni game, dominated, just dominated. And they're like, "So you've been playing a lot?" I'm like, "No, not at all, my man. Just pick up basketball." But it
Yeah,
like, I mean, I was like super in shape and like and just the explosive and the jumping. It's you'd be surprised like how great of a goalie that makes you.
yeah,
Um, love it. And then that was cool about you made that determination of like, let's see, where we can take this, but I'm going to put in that work, right? Two to
yeah,
3 hours a day, shoot, taking shots, or I mean,
yeah,
maybe not taking shots, but getting better, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, oh yeah. So we have a wall right behind our girls lacrosse and soccer field. So we would go there, play wall ball for a couple, probably not, probably 30 minutes to 45 minutes each day. Then we would go out to the field, see all different kinds of shots, whether it be, we would kind of schedule it out by the week. So like one day we would work on shots from on the run from up top and then shots from the wings. And then another day we would do mainly step downs or feeds from X to step downs. And then another day would be, driving the ball from X, turning the corner. And then I mean, it was pretty much all actually, drills that I saw or had done at either Coach Runkle or at Goalie Smith. So just using those drills, obviously we don't have as many, shooters, but we were able to have just, five of us go out there every day and we all enjoyed it. We all loved it. And then obviously we all enjoyed spending time with one another. So that just makes it better at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how you went out there with a focus too, right? Like I think a lot of
Yeah.
times, young goalies go out there with no focus and just kind of take shots and you absolutely get better
Yeah.
by doing that. Don't get me wrong, but like when you have that focus and can really work on like one element of your game, like today I'm gonna do up the hash shots and that's what we're gonna improve upon. I think you get better quicker.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. I think going in and just rolling the balls out and going out there and shooting for an hour and a half, I think that's a lot less effective than going out there with a training plan ahead and
Yeah.
only go out there for 45 minutes. So it's half the time, but it's much more focus time on what you want to accomplish and what you want to work on. And I feel like if you have also a plan in place, then you'll go a lot harder than if you're just rolling the balls and saying, maybe we'll do some step downs, maybe we'll do some on the runs, and then maybe
Yeah.
we'll take a break for a while. But I think if you go out there with a plan and execute that plan, and it could be 45 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can, whatever time you have, just go out there and execute from there.
Yeah. Love it. Now, can your dad and your uncle still bring the heat? Did they ever come out and try and score on you?
So me and my dad, we used to always be in the backyard. I used to always enjoy just messing around with a short stick in my backyard just because, I never really had the chance to score goals because I was always in the net. So I would always be in the backyard after school, shooting the ball, playing with the bounce back, acting like I was, you know, in the national championship game, taking
Right.
shots,
Right.
even though I knew I wasn't going to be there one day. But then and then my dad would come out and we would mess around for a while shooting the ball and stuff. And then occasionally he would ask me to hop in net and I would hop in net, take some shots from him. Or if, especially as I got older, when I got to high school, I would do a lot more, just simple drills with him, like in tight finishing, in the backyard because couldn't really be doing step downs in the backyard because I don't want to lose the balls over the fence. But we would do a lot of inside finishing drills or clearing drills, especially as I got older.
Yeah.
But definitely we were in the backyard all the time.
Love it. Love it. And so talk to me about why you picked Utah. You got that strong Yale tie. But why ultimately did you decide to go to Utah?
Yeah, so I originally committed to Utah under the old coaching staff with Coach Holman,
Mhm.
Manny, Gittleman.
Yeah.
So I think just that coaching staff, um, with the opportunity given, I thought I could grow a great amount under them, especially with all their knowledge of the game. Seeing Coach Holman now being PLL Coach of the Year, and then Coach Gitz and Manny and Marcus all being, all stars throughout their career. I think getting the opportunity to learn under them would have been a great opportunity. And I think that really could have brought the best out of me. And then once the coaching change happened over to Coach McMinn, I think what really stuck out to me the most was he called all of us in my recruiting class the day he got hired, like the day the news broke. He called all of us and he said, I'm excited for you guys all to come out here. We believe we believe that we can build something special here, and we know that you guys can be a crucial part to help building that.
Hmm.
And I saw that the program had been going on an upward trajectory. Obviously, you start out first couple of years as a D1 program, might not go great, but then building up into the year before I got here, where they lost to RMU in the ASIM championship game in overtime. I knew that like this was a team that was on a mission and a team that I knew that I wanted to be a part of. And then once you come out here, I think the biggest thing with recruits coming out here is, especially from the East Coast, is they just have to come out here and see it. Like the mountains, the skiing, the golf courses, like all the outdoor scenery that you get here is second to none. All the facilities, all that's given to us with our nutrition or our, mental health or our strength coaches, I think it's up there with the best in the country. So I think the biggest part was actually getting out here and seeing how beautiful it was and meeting all the guys, the team, the culture, the family that, is built inside Utah lacrosse. I think it's something that's very special. And I think that I would recommend to anyone. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I go here and part of the team, but I
Yeah.
think it's something that's very special.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, Utah is a relatively newer D1 program. Um,
Yeah,
so I played in the MCLA at Cal, and we played Utah, right? We played Utah. They were a club team, and we played BYU and right and UCLA and all these teams in the MCLA. And then you guys made the jump to Division One. I mean, how long ago has it been now? Like five years, I want to say.
I think this is our sixth or
Okay.
seventh year.
Yeah. So in
I
that
think it might have
ballpark,
been.
but it's pretty cool to see. I mean, I guess just the growth of Utah lacrosse. Like it's becoming pretty much a hotbed now, right? And now you've got
Yeah,
the Archers who just won the championship back-to-back seasons.
yep.
And I imagine that only, continues to make it more of a hotbed. I mean, are you seeing that around Utah?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Coach Gittleman and Coach Manny did a great job of building a Utah Summit Lacrosse Club, and they're grabbing some of the best coaches in the area. And they're really building something special there with the youth programs, especially. But one thing that I really enjoy is we go out there on a Saturday night for one of our home games, and you just see all the little kids wearing like jerseys or Utah lacrosse T-shirts. I think it's really, really sweet. And they're like, "Oh, you guys are, some of our biggest idols. Like we grew up watching you." Like I think being able to have such an impact on the community is something that's great. And I think Utah lacrosse will only keep building, not just as a college program, but the youth. And then obviously with having the Archers here, we've gone to the games at Zions Bank Stadium the last 2 years, and it's been packed house, electric atmosphere. It's been great to see.
That's cool. What whose stadium is that? Zion
So it's the Real Salt Lake is the soccer team,
soccer
MLS
team.
soccer team out
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
have like an academy that is right next door to the stadium, and then
Cool.
there's also, I believe, a rugby team that plays there. And then we actually played a game against Vermont there 2 years ago in that stadium.
Okay, cool. Love it. Yeah. And then to your point, I've been to Utah a couple times, maybe like three or four times, and just beautiful, beautiful area. I went snowboarding
Yeah,
in Park City, and wow.
yeah,
It's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
It
so cool.
is.
So you got that going for you.
Yeah,
And one of the things that was I don't remember how it was at Utah, but when we played BYU, like the mountains are like right on top of you, right? Like
yeah.
you're like playing on the field and you just like look up and there's these like enormous mountains and it was so cool to play in that environment. Is it like that for you guys?
Yeah, so our home field, so our first couple games of the year, we'll play on Rice Eccles Stadium, which is the football stadium here. So that's pretty neat. Getting to play, obviously there's not a lot of fans there because it seats 55,000, but we still grab a good draw, and just being able to play in that stadium where we go on Saturday nights or to watch our football team play and support them, being able to play on that same field is pretty neat. But then as it gets a little warmer and the snow starts to melt, we'll move up to our grass field, Ute Field, which is also where the soccer team plays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably, I think it's the best scenery in college lacrosse. You have the mountains in the background on both sides, no matter which way you're looking out. And
That's cool.
usually at that point of the year, there's snow caps, so you see the snow on top, and it makes for some great pictures and some great views for lacrosse.
Yeah. So cool. It's interesting about playing in that football stadium. It's a conversation I was having with the Cal goalie because when I played, we played on this like field that had like maybe like just like four rows of standing room only,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah,
they play in the football field, 50,000 seats, and it's a cool experience to play in that kind of environment. But like the crowd, like nothing beats like the crowd literally standing on the sideline Saturday night or Friday night, and letting the opposing team know what's up, and yeah, it's just a cool atmosphere. But
yeah,
it's interesting. All
for
right.
sure.
Cool. And then so you get there and to Utah and I don't know, it's the game's a lot faster. Would you say your goalie game changed at all, or was it just a question of getting used to the speed?
I think my game definitely had to change at all. It did definitely change. Um, I think the biggest thing, like you said, was speed. Was especially getting set quicker. You know, in high school, the ball kind of tends to die and people stick a little bit, so you're able to focus in. Be able to watch the shooter move all the way down. You know, if they throw a skip pass, you're able to get fully set pretty quick. But just with the releases that these kids have at this level, you got to be much quicker with your feet, getting over from side to side, getting set, and then reacting to the shot a lot quicker. You try and sit on it as long as you can. And what I mean by sit on it is just be patient, wait for that ball to release, and then react to it from there.
Yeah.
But there's obviously times where, if they're bringing it over 100 miles per hour from inside 10 yards, you're going to have to move pretty quick. So there's part of it where you got to just get set as quick as you can so you have more time to react.
Yeah. And is that, how did you go about doing that? Was that just a lot of like footwork around the arc and kind of practicing moving on those spots and being able to move from one spot to another real quickly and getting set?
Yeah, so at the start of the year, before we get into our like 20-hour week fall balls, we'll have a couple 8-hour weeks, and it's more for the freshmen just to build up to speed to the college game. So, but the first couple days will just be coach and command, our head coach. We'll take the goalies and just walk us through some positioning stuff. So we'll do like this four corner drill where they'll have two guys behind the net in the corners and two guys up top. It's all about being set and square to the ball at all times, and then following the pass from each spot, making sure you're set, doing that, and then we'll also hit a ton of just walking the line just to get your feet moving. I think having quick feet is just as important as having quick hands when it comes to being a goalie because
Yeah.
your feet need to move so well to be a goalie. If you're flat footed every time, you can't really react well and you're just relying on your hand speed. That'll only get you so far. But once you're able to build that foot movement into both the hand movement as well, I think you can get to unlimited potential as a goalie.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, that's one of the things I learned from the goalie smith guys is that, when they do shot drills or drills that involve shooting, like everything is off a feed. Like everything is off a feed, right?
Yeah,
It's not just catch the ball, throw it back to the shooter, take your shot, throw it back to the shooter, take your shot. It's all off a feed. And that helps you in getting set quickly, right? And kind of
yeah,
mimicking what a game would be like, where it's off of a feed. I have to get set, shot, right?
yeah. That's also the same way how we are here. So
Yeah.
we'll warm up. We'll always have two shooters passing back and forth before a shot, just because, the shot's never coming where you're just going to see the guy in the whole time. He's going to run in and then shoot it at you with you facing him dead on. It's always going to come off, whether it's a dodge, like a sweep or a feed. So it's getting set with one guy who has the ball, seeing the pass come over, getting reset into the shot. And then
Yeah.
as we go into shooting drills during practice, it'll always be, pass into a dodge or a shot or or it'll start up top and it'll just be a on the run dodge. But no one's ever just feet set the whole time just shooting it at you.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say you're working on right now, specifically in your goalie game?
So what I'm working on right now is trying to make sure that I don't bend at the hip as much on low shots.
Mm.
So what that does is if I bend at the hip, I start looking straight down and I can lose track of that ball coming into my stick. So what I'd rather do is drop down from my knees and hinge my hips a little bit more down so I can drop my level of my knees all the way down so I can see the ball into my stick and be able to control it the
Hmm.
whole time. And
Yeah.
then I'm also working as well on just making sure my positioning is always square to the ball. So I'm always on every feed, just trying to be straight in line with the shooter, not give him any extra room to shoot at. So try and be directly in line with him, set and square at all times.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, very important point that, on those low shots, because you do see a lot of goalies keep those hips kind of in that same level at their stance, right? And I do think on those low shots, the hip level has to come down, right? You can't just bend at the
Yeah,
waist. You got to drop those hips down. Um, and for me, I was a wrestler. I was a wrestler in high school. That was like my main sport. And like that, like, taking like a shot, in wrestling is like the exact
Hmm.
same thing as like that, drop the hips and then go. And so
Yeah.
to me, that was like a very natural movement if there's any wrestlers out there. But anyway, to your point, it's a great thing to be working on.
Hmm.
Yeah. I wanted to I was going to ask about, there's a little like hop move that a lot of goalies do. I call it the hop because I got that from Galloway, but it's just kind of like a resetting of the weight. Do you
Yeah.
do that? Do you do that in your game?
So I do that a good amount. I think it's something that for me works. Obviously, it's not going to work for everyone. It's just how quickly you're able to get your feet set when you do that. If it takes you a while to hop into your step, then it's not going to work for you. But if you're able to quickly get over, get those feet padded and set,
Yeah.
and it feels comfortable and works for you, then it's definitely something I recommend. But if you're not able to fully get set before that shot's released, then it's probably something that you shouldn't be doing. So it's honestly just up to the goalie whether they, if it helps them or hurts them at that point.
Yeah. I think it helps every goalie, if you ask me. I think it is something goalies should be doing. I'm not going to force it upon a goalie I work with if he's like, I can't, it's not working for me. But I like in my heart of hearts and having played like a lot of tennis as a youth, like it and an infielder in baseball, that move of like resetting your weight, it's and then as you kind of come down a little bit into an athletic stance, it's like nearly impossible to land like that and not be in a great stance. And so I
Yeah,
love it. I love it. I preach it a lot,
yeah.
but I know some
Uh,
goalies don't do it, and that's fine, right? We're all
yeah,
different.
it's definitely something I do just because I feel comfortable doing it, and I think all the goalies on my team actually do it as well. So I think it's
Yeah.
definitely something that's can definitely help your game a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Love it. So you end up earning the starting role as a freshman, which is pretty
Yeah.
rare, right? Not many goalies come in and earn that starting role as a freshman. What do you think allowed you to do that, or what was the mindset that you had that enabled you to earn that starting role? Do you think?
I think it just all comes back to just working hard every day, just believe, and also just believing in yourself. There's a lot of kids who come into college and they think it's just like, oh, it's a whole, different experience. I'm playing with a bunch of older guys now. Like I have to change everything that I did. I think just believing in yourself and believing in what got you there. Like Coach McMahon always says, we all recruited you here for a reason. You're all great lacrosse players, or else you wouldn't be here. So, you know, knowing that the coaches believe in you right from day one, and knowing that you can be the best version of yourself without having to, make drastic changes. And then I think also just having that confidence in your game as well, just knowing that you can play at this level, like there's a reason you're here. And I think it all comes down to mentally, physically, I think all of the goalies on the team have such great tools and great ability to save the ball, great ability to clear the ball. They're so smart with the game. And I think just like knowing that coming in mentally, if I'm able to match these guys with my physical abilities, if I can just believe in myself and give myself that 1% extra advantage every day, then
Hmm.
I'll be able to reach, the goals I want to. And I did with being able to start from day one. I'm really thankful for being able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Great lesson, right? What about those
Absolutely.
what about those days though where you're not feeling it. You're not believing. You're not, because those happen. Maybe even after
Absolutely.
that first
Yeah.
game, right? Where you give up a ton of goals and now like, oh, I'm a freshman. Should I really be starting? Am I really the best option? How do you battle those demons, let's say?
Yeah, I just went to my coach and I said, coach, I know I'm not playing my best. I know I can showcase so much more. And, just going in there and he told me like, yeah, obviously, putting you in this position, playing, first two games against some tough opponents, some really good offenses as a freshman, like it's not going to be easy. Um, it's going to be a challenge. It's the highest level of lacrosse at this level. So, these kids are guys who have shooting 100 miles per hour plus every single one of them. So just going in there and talking to him, he's like, we wouldn't keep you in these games if we didn't believe in you. So just being able to have know that my coaches have my back and all my teammates have my back because I talked to my teammates as well after because we had a couple freshmen starting on defense. We had one of our starting defensemen and then one D-man had also made their first starts during that, and we all had a talk. The three of us were like, dude, we just gotta have fun and just enjoy the game. Believe in ourselves. The coaches believe in us. Obviously, we haven't played our best, but we have so much more to give to this team, and just being able to go out there and know that the coaches believe in us. I think that was huge for us. We were able to bounce back in the rest of the season from there.
Yeah, love it. Great lessons in there. Um, well, awesome. Wish you good luck in the upcoming season. It's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun to watch you guys out there. I wanted to ask about that sports mental performance coach or sports psychologist. I
Yep,
think Dr. Nick. What do you know his last name?
yep. Nick Galley, Galli.
Cool. I'll have to look him up. What any specific lessons come to mind that he's taught you?
I think one of the best lessons he taught me was just to have fun. I've talked about that in the past, but he always told us, I think we were going to our conference tournament last year and we had a quick meeting. He just goes, he talked to all of us. He just says, why do you guys want to play this game? And it's just like, because we enjoy it, because we love it, because we, enjoy the brotherhood of being able to play with one another. And like, at the end of the day, it's just a game, it's not life or death. It's just a sport. We do it because we love it. So, why go out there and be all tight and angry and mad at the world? Just go out there and have fun and enjoy each day. And if you think back to your best games that you've ever played, they're never games where you're mad or angry or sad. It's always your best games. You're having the most fun. You're smiling. You're enjoying every moment of it, and then that's what helps you play to the best of your abilities.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Great lesson, right? And I think a lot of times too, like as you get into those slumps or like as you start to not enjoy lacrosse as much, you look back and you're like, well, it's not fun anymore. I started playing because it was fun
Hmm.
when I was a youth and I love making the saves and I love hanging out with my buddies. And then, somewhere along the way it became like a job and now I'm just doing it because I have
Yeah,
to. So yeah, I think rediscovering that fun is a huge part of it. And sometimes that means taking a break if you can, right? I mean, sometimes you got a game on Monday and you can't, but
yeah. So I think
sometimes
that's
you got to
definitely,
rest.
yeah. I mean, after every season, I definitely take some time just to decompress from the sport,
Yeah.
take some time, let the body recover, and then you'll always know when it's time to get back to playing because you'll have that itch like, man, I really want to go to the field right now. I really want to go get some shots up with my friends, and that's your body telling you, that it's and your mind telling you it's time for you to go out there and start playing again. But during the season, I mean, there's definitely days or streaks where you'll have not a great game followed by not a great practice, not a great practice, and then it's just taking time usually by yourself, whether it's like journaling or,
Mm.
if you just want to talk to somebody and be like, hey, I'm just like, last couple of days have been pretty rough. I'm not playing my best. I'm not having fun out there. And with our team, it's always back to the same, what's the reason of you wanting to play lacrosse? Like, why did you start as a little kid? Like, just channel that inner, fun at this next practice, and I guarantee you'll play better. So that's something that we definitely have all picked up on here is just
Mhm.
trying to tap into our inner child, I guess,
Yeah.
of just being, you know, having a smile on our face during practice, going out there is high fiving each other. It's there's honestly nothing better than when you're enjoying yourselves on the field out there. At the end of the day, it's just a game.
100% agree. 100% agree. Yeah. How do you use that journaling?
So this is actually something I talked with Dr. Nick about last year. I was going through a patch where I wasn't, playing great, wasn't really having the most fun with lacrosse, and he has told me to every night just write down three things you're thankful for, um, three things that went well today, and then three things that you want to work on tomorrow. And just every day, just writing down three things that I'm grateful for,
Mm,
three things that I did well today, and then three things I want to improve on. So you also, it goes back to having like a direction, having like a mindset of what you want to work on the next day. And I did that for a little bit and definitely saw a change in how I'd perform and how much fun I was having out there.
yeah. Yeah, that gratitude practice is huge. Is one of those ones where like I heard the benefits of having a gratitude practice of like writing down what you're grateful for. And I'm like, "Ah, that one's dumb. That one's not for me." And then like you do it and it's incredible, right? It's incredible.
Hmm.
You're just so grateful,
Absolutely.
right? You get a
Yeah,
lot more joy, and you have more fun when you play. So
absolutely.
highly recommend all the goalies do it. Awesome. Cool. I feel like we hit all the topics there. Any stories you feel like we missed?
Oh, stories. Trying to think of one.
Not like the team bus never broke down. You never forgot all your gear. That was always like my number one
Yeah,
fear is like showing up to like a road game in particular, opening your bag and you're like, my uniform's not in here. Or my like I
yeah,
don't have my chest pad or something like that.
yeah. That stuff can get pretty crazy here because every game we have to fly to here. So,
That's right.
we'll walk in at 3 in the morning before our flight because we'll take like a 6, 7 a.m. flight. So we'll get to the locker room, 4ish in the morning, and you'll just see everyone start panicking, see if they have everything, see if all their sticks are, if they packed all the right stuff or not. And it's definitely something to see. But I'd say honestly, just those travel days, like, it might not seem like taking a flight to everything is fun, traveling, having to go across country. But honestly, it's just our coaches when they were at Robert Morris, they would just say like taking a 6 hour flight to go to Rutgers is a lot better than taking a 14-hour bus ride to go play Providence or someone. It's like that's another time where it's like you just gotta be thankful for, the moment that we're given.
Yeah.
And I think like also those times in the airport we just create so many good times, we're playing games,
Right.
whether it's on the phone or we're playing, Uno in the airport or on the bus ride. I think those are where you create the best memories. I remember we're driving to the airport from Air Force last year after we beat Jacksonville to win the conference championship, and everyone's singing. We got people doing solos on the bus microphone, and I think just like cherishing those memories is something that's really great. One thing Coach McMinn says here is that in 20 years down the line, you're not gonna remember your stats or you know, your wins and losses on the field, but it's going to be those memories, those bonds you built while you were playing the game.
Hmm.
He's like, I exaggerate to my kids all the time about how great I was in college, but, you know, because they're not going to take, no one's going to take the time to look back on, what your stats were in college, what your save percentage was, but it's just those memories you're going to build, whether it's on the field or off the field, that, you're going to remember forever. And at the end of the day, your teammates are going to be your best friends, when it comes down to the rest of your life. Like five or six of my teammates from high school, like we still talk every day. We're still best friends. We're probably just gonna be best friends forever at this point. So it's just those bonds you could build with a game like lacrosse is something that's second to none for sure.
Oh, 100% agree. Great message. Yeah, the attackman on my team, two players on my team. One the attackman was the best man in my wedding, and then the other guy was in my wedding party. So just
Yeah,
the best friends that I could have made.
yeah,
I was giggling a little bit, chuckling a little bit about your comment of like they're not going to be able to look up your stats to know how good you were because like when I played in 2003, like the stats are gone. Like you can't go online and check the stats. And so
yeah,
my buddy was joking the other day. It's like, hey, do people know that you weren't a great goalie? And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like I am a great goalie. just keep hyping myself up, you know?
yeah. I remember we were actually at we have a back to school barbecue with the athletics department every year. and it was at the stadium this year. And me, Connor O'Neill, one of our other goalies, and Coach McMinn were sitting at a table, and our coach pulls out his phone and shows like a, I guess it was like his might have been like his yearbook at Providence or something, or some type of like lacrosse like guide or something. I don't even know what it was, but it was like a record book thing. And he's like, I finally showed you guys that I was a good goalie in college. Like I know what I'm talking about. He like had all his stats in there. And we were like trying to like zoom in on this like tiny picture he has of like his his face like when he was in college with all his stats. We were just laughing. And it's just like it kind of just goes along with like no one's gonna remember your stats. Like you're gonna maybe dig them up sometime, 20 years later, but you're not gonna be bragging about them every day with someone.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Awesome. Um, what about your stick setup? What kind of stick do you go with?
So I'm never I feel like I'm always changing up my sticks or at least my shafts. I actually have some over there. I used a Nike Vapor back in high school
Hmm.
with an Eclipse too. I've always used the Eclipse heads. I tried String King once, and I mean, I didn't mind it, but I just always liked the throat on the Eclipse. I felt was much easier to for me to hold, so I like
Yeah,
that a lot
yeah,
more because I usually grab around the bottom of the head instead of
yeah.
underneath. And then since I've gone to college, I've kind of rotated shafts between the side tie. Um, I used a Mission Blank at one point. I try to cut down outlet, which I got the idea from Brendan Krebs. I've been working with him. Um, got a pretty good relationship with him, good friendship with him, and he's actually strung up the sticks I'm using this year so far. So he told me to try and cut down outlet. Um, it was okay. I didn't love it, and right now I'm trying out the fiber right now.
Yeah.
So and then my head, obviously I use the Eclipse 3. And then the past 2 years I've gone 1U, a shooter, and a nylon. And then this year I'm trying out the Ghost Pocket this year that Krebs strung up for me. He said he used it the past summer and really liked it. So I tried out a stick once at a goalie workshop uh, camp, and I liked it. So I'm trying that out, and I think it's got a good mix of both being able to handle rebounds well as well as throw good outlets. So I'm actually really liking the Ghost Pocket right now.
Yeah. It's pretty hot right now, the ghost pocket, right? I saw Krebs with no shooters. Um, not for me. I prefer that. Like I kind of have this is the setup I prefer, this one right here,
Hmm.
with like one U and then one straight. And sometimes on the other ones I have a nylon across the top, which I like too.
Yeah,
And it just gives me that good feel. But yeah, whatever works for you.
yeah. Kind of in high school, I kind of went between the one U, one straight, and then as well as two straight and one nylon. So I've never been someone who's super picky about how my stick is or throws because I kind of just adapt it however the stick's throwing. I kind of just adapt my game to.
I like it.
But I mean, if it's throwing like straight into the ground or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
or
yeah.
straight in the air, then there's something I'll fix. But I've never been too picky with it.
Love it. Well, awesome, Colin. Thanks. Well, first of all, congrats on a great season last year.
Thank you.
Conference champions. I mean, that's got to be an awesome feeling, right?
Yeah,
To win the conference champion. That's kind of a goal you set out, and to do it, in your second year. So, congrats on that.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, good luck in the upcoming season. I guess conference championship, and then taking it further in the national championship tournament. Is that your team's goals or something else?
Yeah, I mean, last 2 years we've gone to the first round. Really haven't been able to show our best. I think definitely the first year against Notre Dame, the team was obviously, and also Duke this year. Those teams were two really good teams, and I just think we kind of let the moment get to us, myself included. We didn't play our best. Took us a while to get going against Notre Dame this year or
Mhm.
last year, and then we came out good against Duke this year, but kind of fell off. And I think being able to bring back so much tournament experience with this team this year, we lost obviously a good amount of great players who helped us a lot. But I think the team that we're building this year with a mix of, experience from the last 2 years, as well as, newcomers, we have a transfer as well as some freshmen that could make some noise this year for us for sure.
Love it. Well, good luck. Like I said, in the upcoming season, if you had to leave the goalies out there with a final piece of advice, what would that be?
I would Something I've said the whole time, but just have fun, enjoy the game. You're playing it because you want to have fun. Like we don't go out there, you want to try your best, give everything you have. Be at the end, but at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be playing. But if you just keep that in your mind at all times, that it's a game, it's meant to have fun, then that'll help you for sure.
Love it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.